Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. This is April the 30th, 2019. Happens to be a Tuesday. And would you believe that it's snowing outside? Crazy, crazy weather. But hey, what can I tell you, right? Anyway, we're still reading from the good old book here, Viscaya, Born for Love. It's a very good book. Like we said, it's broken down into different segments. And so we just go into each segment accordingly. And so we'll just start it out. Let's see where we were. We were on, we started a new segment called We Are Confined in Our Understanding of Other Human Beings by What We Know About Ourselves. So the very first one that I'm going to read is called Saying No to Love. Some of us have the mistaken notion that when we love someone, we are compelled to say yes to them all the time, no matter how capricious or frustrating their demands or behaviors. We feel we owe our loved ones everything in return for the love they gave. In such cases, it is important to understand the difference between being loved and being manipulated. When we are led to believe that we owe something in return for someone's love, it is not love. There are times when saying no can be the greatest act of love. When being direct with our feelings can be a giant step toward greater mutual respect. Our unequivocal no can free us of the resentment which is invariably an outcome of having been manipulated. Learning that saying no may be a loving act can help us to discover resources we never knew we had. Experience the dignity which comes from having been true to ourselves and acquire coping skills that will serve us forever. There's a quote by Anonymous saying no gives meaning to our yes. I'd say very true. I'd also say that unfortunately in the world that we live, that unfortunately there are those in the world that have grown up with this belief that you can't survive without some degree of manipulation. Personally, I find that sad, but on the other hand, it is very true, and that's just the way it is. So, all right, the next one, or the next segment, that I will read is called We Have No Second Chance with Life. Experience with death and dying has put me in touch with its inevitability and value. Death is too often feared when it is not death that is to be dreaded, but rather our willingness to apathetically accept lives unlived. Those who deny their mortality lack the necessary driving force to face life. Existence, after all, has no meaning in and of itself. Excuse me. It is merely a series of moments that acquire meaning only after they have been passed and are viewed in the greater tapestry of our lives. When we deliberately disregard the fact that we all shall die, that our lives are limited, we lose sight of the significance of each moment and become more willing to put them off for some future time, ignoring the reality that they are lost to us forever. On the other hand, we are born, we are given a life to be lived, and the potential for the love to live it with. Since death comes to us mostly as a surprise, we seldom have a second chance for either. The most compelling force for love and a life lived fully comes when we have acquired a genuine acceptance of the reality that no one has forever. A quote by Octavio Paz: a civilization that denies death ends by denying life. For me, pretty much self-explanatory. Death is just a reality. And I would think we should all know that. But then maybe some of us don't, or we just try to run and hide from it. I don't know which. But yep, we're all going to die, including me. Not looking forward to it, but hey, it could be today. It could be 30 years from now. Who knows? Okay. The next segment that I'm going to read is called In Love We Trust. I'm often met with cynicism because of my positive and passionate approach to trusting. I learned long ago to ignore the accusation that I'm foolish and naive because of this. It continues to astonish me how agitated some people get when I explain my belief that trust unites and secures as nothing else can. That without it, love cannot possibly endure. It doesn't seem to me that this is such an outrageous proposition, really, but it does seem to bring forth the detractors. When we cease trusting, negative forces take over. Good intentions go unappreciated in minds. Good intentions go unappreciated in minds crowded with doubt and suspicion. Expressions of love are suspected of having hidden meanings. Everyday behavior gives rise to momentable trauma. We worry that we will be deceived if we trust too much, yet do not consider the consequences of not trusting enough. Quote by Ralph Waldo Emerson: "Trust men, and they will be true to you. Treat them greatly, and they will show themselves great." That particular one I would totally 100% agree with. I've always had the attitude that, right or wrong, I would rather trust you first and go from there than to distrust you first and not have an opportunity to become friends. That's just my attitude, and as one might say, so be it. So be it. That's the way it is. Anyway, I do like that particular one because I do believe that trust is really an important thing. Someone in the military, when I was in the military many years ago, somebody said something to me that stuck and I never forgot. I think he was a lieutenant, if I remember correctly, and he said to me that, "Robert, I'll trust you with my life until you try to kill me." I thought it was funny, but in a funny sort of way, he did make a point. All right, the next one that I'm going to read is called "Love Enhances Love." All loving acts directed toward us enhance our life and are essential to our well-being. I accept all the love I can get. I'm not particular. The more, the better. Sometimes the purest demonstrations of love appear through casual, spontaneous encounters, such as the stranger who stops to help us when our engine fails, or the salesperson who genuinely cares about our satisfaction. We welcome gestures like this for the simple reason that they are offered with selfless motives and with no expectations of favors returned. While it is very human to want the love that enriches a life through a special relationship, one of the refreshing things about love is that we need never be particular where it comes from. It is important, though, that we take the time to positively acknowledge when another human being momentarily enriches our life with the touch of love. These are the reinforcements we need, the things we remember when others insist upon preaching about our loveless world and all the untrustworthy people in it. A quote by Mother Teresa: "Love is a fruit in season all the time and within the reach of every hand." Throughout this book, I often say to myself, very well written. Um, Sometimes there's just nothing really to say except to accept that which has been said. Now, it's still snowing out there. April 30th, 2019, Wells, Nevada. And it's snowing. Holy cow. Oh, well. Okay, the next one that I'm going to read is called Enhancing the Love That We Seek. In all the world, there is not a single person exactly like any of us. Everything that we produce is authentically ours. There will always be things we don't understand about ourselves, as there are things we don't like about ourselves. Despite this fact, there is no good reason not to love ourselves. There is a definite dignity in our uniqueness. Our fantasies, our dreams, our hopes, our fears, behaviors, and our abilities all belong only to us. They are what make us who we are and open the doors to what we can become. It is true that in our lifetime, we may never really know ourselves in any complete sense. But it is our gift to God to never stop trying. For our search for love can only be enhanced through our realization of self. Quote by Paula P. Vernelia: "To do things in the world, first you must know who you are, and what gives meaning to your life. For me, I guess I'd like to always believe, anyway, that sharing and teaching is what basically makes me happy. Which, by the way, I think is pretty cool because, hey, isn't that what life's all about? Doing the things you enjoy that make you happy. And of course, for all of us, it's quite different and should be. All right, the next one I'm going to read is called Present Love. I too often hear people only send me flowers when I'm sick or in the hospital, when I'm in no mood to enjoy them. I love receiving flowers, and it's funny that on the day I receive the most, I won't be alive to enjoy them. I get presents on my birthday or at holidays, but I'd be willing to forgo some of those for a surprise gift now and then. Just a sign that someone is thinking about me when they don't have to. I've always wanted to go to Europe, but something always seems to interfere with my plans. I guess we have to have priorities. But why is it that the things I really want to do have to be put aside for the things I have to do? I meant to get him that gift he wanted. Who would ever have thought that he'd be taken from me so suddenly without my being able to give it to him? The only love we can utilize is that which we can experiencing in the present. It's too late for yesterday and too soon for tomorrow. Offerings and demonstrations of love cannot wait for our convenience. Quote by Johann Wolfgang von Goethe: nothing is worth more than this day. That takes me back to the now, which I'd have to say I totally accept and believe in. There is only one thing on this planet that is real, and that's right now. Because a few moments ago, that's past, it's gone. And the next step forward, well, I don't know. We're not there yet. So we won't know until it becomes the now. And holy cow, it's still snowing. It's going to be a cold and snowy day today. That's all there is to it. The next segment that I'm going to read is called Creating Fulfilling Relationships. Life is so much more than setting. We often hear about people who remain in stagnant relationships, settling for a few discarded crumbs of love that may come their way. Rationalizing, that's how life is. They resign themselves to the bits of happiness that come their way as if some mystical source has predetermined. Hello, hello.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, that's good. I couldn't get on. My laptop won't boot, won't come on at all. My tablet won't even turn on. I don't know what the problem with that is. So I'm like, oh, what am I going to do? I got home.
So you home now?
I got home yesterday, yeah, and I trying to get organized. Gosh, it's ridiculous. I haven't even unpacked.
Well, it's probably good to be home, or feels good
Yeah,
to be home.
it is. It was getting old there because I couldn't do anything. There was nothing to do, and I tried to keep busy, but with the kids in school and everybody else at work, it was pretty boring.
Yeah, sometimes it's that, that's what life is all about, I guess.
Yeah, but that's okay. It's good to be home. And I won't stay so long the next time. I'll maybe, go for a couple of weeks, couple of weeks, because a month is, I was supposed to stay until after Mother's Day. Well, that would have been ridiculous.
Wow. Yeah, that
I,
would have been quite a long time.
yeah, I changed my ticket. I just couldn't do that. So, oh, it looks like my laptop booted. Well, that's a good thing.
Well, would you believe it's snowing here?
No, I wouldn't. Really?
Yep.
Oh my God.
Piling up on the car. It's
Oh,
cold outside. And this is
oh,
April 30th.
oh, it's almost May for crying out loud. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was in my wheelchair at the airport because they wheel me in, because it's such a long walk to the gate.
Oh,
And
yeah.
there was a gal next to me with crutches, young girl. And I said, "What did you do?" And she said, "I broke it snowboarding." I said, "This time of year?" She was in Colorado, and she broke it a couple of weeks ago. And it's like, oh my gosh. I was telling her about you. I said, I have a friend who lives in Nevada. And I said, they're always getting snow this late. So this late.
Well, what's surprising is that, like, it's snowing right now, and yet the weatherman says that tomorrow is supposed to be uh, like closer to 50. It's about 35 out there right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next day it'll be 55, next day it'll be 60, and the next day it'll be 70. So the temperatures are going up, But for
Yeah.
today, it's snowing. I could take a picture of it.
It's insane. Mm-mm-mm.
Well, anyway, I'll go back to what I was reading, but I'll start over so we don't lose it completely here. It happens to be the last
Oh,
one on a segment that's called We are confined in our understanding of other human beings by what we know about ourselves. So it's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
So anyway, this one's called Creating Fulfilling Relationships. Life is so much more than settling. We often hear about people who remain in stagnant relationships, settling for a few discarded crumbs of love that may come their way, rationalizing that's how life is.
Mm.
They resign themselves to the bits of happiness that come their way as if some mystical source has predetermined and carefully measured and dispensed their allotment.
Mm-hmm.
We should never be passive about our share of love and happiness. They are not things we should simply settle for. We are answerable for our love and what it does or does not bring us. If we want love in our relationships, then we are directly responsible for creating and maintaining it. Quote by John of the Cross: where we find no love, put love, and you will find love. Very good.
Mm-hmm. Thought provoking.
Oh, they all are.
Yeah, that's true.
I really believe that, it doesn't say anywhere in the book, but as I'm going through it, it's the kind of book that you would want to put by your bed with a little, thing inside it to know where you left off,
Mm.
and just get up every morning and just read one each day, and that's it.
Yeah,
Because just reading one would definitely start your day out. Uh, well, I don't want to say correctly, but because every day is different, but it would get you started, so to speak.
yeah, yeah. A little motivation.
Yeah, a little kind of motivation. And we need love in the world. There's so much lack of it that it's really compellingly sad that there is in reality there's a lot of hate in the world, and we need more love, and we need to get rid of all that hate, because that hate will end up destroying us and everybody on the planet if we're not careful.
For sure.
Anyway, next segment, which is what we're going to start here, and it's called The Best Way to Come Back to Life is to Give It. That's what the next segment is called. Of course, what's nice is every day I keep busy. I keep doing things. I keep learning things. Um, and then I was going to send you that, and I don't know if I did or I didn't, that thing with Partner with Anthony.
You did at one point, I'm pretty sure. Uh, it was a while back.
Yeah. Well,
I remember looking it up, but
I couldn't find your email address because I was thinking, if you came in today, I'd get your email address and then I would send it again directly to your email address.
okay, I can put that in the
In the chat?
chat. Sure.
Okay. Because I've been doing very, very well. Uh, at least in the learning aspect of it. Uh, at this point, I haven't made any sales, but I'll have to say that I've gotten, what is it now? It's up to about 110 clicks. In other words, people that have actually looked at the PWA, partner with Anthony.
Mm-hmm. Good.
And it's divided up to what they call raw clicks and unique clicks. Raw clicks means that, like, for example, I might have 190 raw clicks. What that means, that's people that actually clicked on that particular thing. Then it's called unique clicks, which is about 110. Those are people that clicked on it and stayed on it for a certain length of time.
Mm.
And may have done, went on to the next step, just out of curiosity or whatever. And then, of course, the last one is sales, where they finally decided, okay, this is pretty cool, and they move on and they, go ahead and get it. So, in that respect, I've definitely gotten the clicks. And because of the program and what I'm learning, it's nice to know that I can just go into my segment there and check it out, and I can see any day or every day just exactly how many people have looked at what I put out there, which in itself was kind of surprising because I made up 4 True United uh, opt-in pages, which I think I showed you or discussed.
Yes. Yeah.
And so I was looking in there last night before I went to bed, and lo and behold, I've gotten somewhere between 30 and 40 clicks on True United. So that's nice to know that at least by putting it out there, I'm not just, hanging it out in space and wondering if anybody's ever going to look at it. I know now that there actually are people that are clicking on it. Now, for whatever reason, they haven't registered, and that's just the way business is. It's a game. In the real world, it's just a game. And the more you play the game, the better chance you have of winning at it, I guess, would be a way to put it. Huh? So anyway, I got sidetracked there for a second.
That's okay. I had a sip of coffee.
All right, well, we'll start the first one here on this new segment, and it's called A Life Lived in Love. I have a colleague who always brings a breath of fresh air into my life. She's one of those rare individuals with such a brimming passion for life that all who come to know her treasure her. She is a unique presence, dependable but always unpredictable, wise in many ways, but with a touch of madness. Always doing for others, but never forgetting her responsibility to herself. Forever restless, but also unique content with her life, dedicated to maintaining close, loving relationships, yet available for some far-off adventure. I stopped wondering long ago how old my friend is. I wouldn't be surprised if she herself has lost count. I know that more than most people, she is true to her deeply felt instincts. She refuses to waste time yearning for what could be. She's too busy doing. Her life is not filled with regrets for what might have been. She is far less concerned with what's past than with what's next. It is her insistence on continually living life and love with a passion that energizes her and makes her ageless. If the time ever comes that she is physically unable to continue at her present pace, I believe she'll still find as many new things to do, worlds to explore, and people to love. I've often thought how lucky I am to have such a friend as she, not only because of the joy she brings and the challenge she presents, but because of the shining example she represents of a life being lived so fully in love. Quote by Mary Comodelli. I probably didn't pronounce it right, but I did the best I could. Every day I live, I am more convinced that the waste of life lies in the love we have not given, the powers we have not used, the selfish prudence that will risk nothing and which shrieking pain misses happiness as well. I'm not sure I understand the quote, but that's all right.
Kind of tangled.
Yeah, a little bit, but pretty cool to have a friend. And I think many of us that, through life, we've all had that friend that, as I put it, I had a friend that I used to jokingly say, if you know him, then you're familiar with firecrackers, because he was just always up, blasting away, just go, go, go. You could park a dump truck in front of him, and he'd go around it, over it, through it. Somehow, he just kept going. There's just no way you could stop him. And I think we've all probably have had friends like that in our lifetime. Sometimes we wish we could throw a rope around them and tie them down and just
slow them down.
Yeah, tug them in real close so they don't get away. But you couldn't do that. That wouldn't be fair either. You gotta, as I've learned from my own experience, the best way to catch a butterfly is to sit down and wait for him to land on your shoulder.
Yeah, you can't be chasing it with a butterfly net. I've seen people do that. It doesn't work too well.
Yeah, that's just the way it is.
Oh, hush.
Or like in the mountains, this is a true story because it happened to me, and I was, in the mountains hiking, and I come over this little ridge, and I was walking kind of slow and quietly. So I mean, although you'd think the animals would have heard me, but anyway, I was walking, and just as I got to the top of the ridge, I look up, and here's this mama deer doe, just standing there. And she just looking at me, and I stopped, and I looked at her, and in a sense of time, it seemed like an eternity. And of course, it could have been a couple seconds, it could have been maybe a whole minute, but we just stood there looking at each other. And then finally, she started backing up real, very, very slowly. And I didn't move, I just watched her. And finally, she got down where you couldn't see her anymore because she was on the other side of the hill. And as she backed down, she got more and more out of view. And finally, she was out of view. So then I walked forward to the top of the hill. Where that deer went, I have no idea, but I'm positive that as soon as she got on the other side of that hill and she couldn't see me, she was gone.
Off like a shot. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was so cool, like I say, I didn't keep track of the time, but it just seemed like an eternity. Just her and me just looking at each other. It was cool. It was a fun experience.
Yeah.
Hmm. Okay, next one I'm going to read is called Even Love Dies with Verbal Neglect. Lester feels very safe in his love for Cynthia. He cares for her deeply and sincerely. He buys her gifts, hoping they will convey how much she means to him without the words. He feels so awkward speaking. He often has warm, loving thoughts about her, but they go unexpressed because he feels lovingly tongue tied.
Mhm.
Anyway, he assumes she knows how he feels about her. As a matter of fact, most of their communications stick pretty closely to the mundane requirements of living. Lester is certain their love is unshakable and maintenance free. But one day, Cynthia announces that she wants out, wants a divorce. Unfortunately, Lester learned too late how utterly wrong his approach to loving and lasting relationships was. He was shocked and bewildered when their happiness happened because he had been himself as the perfect husband. Love does not survive under constant verbal neglect. It eventually withers and dies. It can't be maintained by symbols and tokens, nor is it blessed by some never ending aura of forgiveness. Love must be expressed, nurtured, and strengthened constantly. If we don't hear love enough, it will surely vanish. Quote by Barbara Grizzly Harrison: kindness and intelligence don't always deliver us from pitfalls and traps. There is no way to take the danger out of human relationships. I guess that's true.
Mm.
How do you do?
Kind of discouraging. Sounds like everything
Yeah.
headed down the road to destruction.
Well, for me, it's some habits, are created and, they're things that you do that you don't even realize you do. But in my case, at least with Loretta, I know without a doubt that I tell her I love her at least once every day, if not more than that.
That's good.
Um, Although there's times when I'm worried that it's so much of a habit that it has lost its meaning, if you know what I mean. You know?
Good, good you tell her.
Yeah. But it's better to say it than not say it at all, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, you'd be amazed just how far we're getting, but I think you've got about enough time to go through one more, and then we'll be done for today.
Okay.
I'm sad to say, and holy cow, the snowflakes are not getting smaller, they're getting bigger.
Yeah.
And the ground is starting to turn white on April 30th, 2019. One day from May. Oh my goodness.
Insane.
Oh, I get cold just looking.
Yeah, yeah, I would too.
I'm sitting here. I know I'm warm, but I'm sitting here. Ooh, it's getting chilly.
Oh, that's so crazy.
Yeah, it is really. Oh well, that's the world in the big world of the United States of America. Things are changing, including the weather.
Circuit breaker.
All right, the last one, or the next one I'm going to read is called Loving Through Death. A short time ago, a very special friend died. We had valued and nurtured our relationship for over 30 years. We had our ups and downs during that time, but we were determined that nothing would interfere with our ever growing friendship. I think often of the wonderful, crazy experiences we had together, of the many changes each of us went through, and of the deep sharing which bonded us for life. I know for certain that we never lose the people we love, even to death. They continue to participate in every act, thought, and decision we make. Their love leaves an indelible imprint in our memories. We find comfort in knowing that our lives have been enriched by having shared their love. Though someday we all have to part with those we love, they are not lost. We are always better for having loved in this way. Love transcends even death. Quote by Thomas Campbell: to live in the hearts we leave behind is not to die.
Mm, that's nice.
Very nice, very true. Uh, Only thing I see in my mind's eye that's kind of sad is that there are probably hundreds of thousands of people out there that are not even aware of what I just read.
All right.
You know?
Yeah, that is sad.
Uh, oh, well, it's not a sad day, it's a beautiful day.
It's snowing.
I love the snow.
Beautiful snowy day.
Ho, 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 and this day will be reckoned with in the past for those who want to say, do you believe that?
Mhm.
Anyway, as usual, I gotta get out of here, go do my thing, put my fur coat on, put my sweater on, and put my jacket on, put my gloves on, and pretend it's wintertime and go do what I gotta do. And hopefully I'll see you on Thursday. And I think, if I recall, because Dave got his thing off, which
Yeah,
he's happy about.
yeah.
And he said he wouldn't be here on Tuesday because I guess he's got something that he has to do today with the doctors or whatever. But he said he's going to try to maybe make it on Thursday. So
Oh, good.
maybe Thursday he'll be here.
Well, okay. See you
So
then, I guess.
yeah. So other than that, we'll, as they say, close up shop, lock the door, and we'll see you on Thursday. And you have a great and wonderful, fantastic day. And I hope the sun is shining.
Oh, thanks, Robert. Have fun playing in the snow. I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, I will. You have a good one.
You too. God bless you.
God bless you.